nights again. Rough 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 nights again. Lucky. 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 Rough nights again. Lucky.
What's going on?
Wonder if we should all turn our screens off.
Everyone, stop your video, maybe. Stop your video, everyone.
You actually.
I wonder if everyone would turn their cameras off. That might give us more bandwidth if that's the issue. I'm not sure.
Did you hear that? Did you see the video? Yes.
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 It was,
Yes,
it was
definitely.
excellent.
Yeah,
It
we
was
did.
excellent.
It was
Yeah.
excellent. It just
Okay.
some parts it was stalling. It was the download time.
Everyone had their
Okay.
video on. You have to shut
Yeah.
your video off, or that happens. There isn't enough bandwidth.
Everybody, everybody should turn your
Uh,
camera off. So all we see is your
Yeah,
picture.
where it says start video, just so your face doesn't show. We'll just have your name, but you're still there.
Yeah. So far,
Okay.
Not everyone, yeah.
let's see, we've got
Wait.
Bob Nogler and Anne Marie Savaggio, and
All right. Okay. Most people are off now. Yeah.
we've got most people off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, for those who want to see that video again, I will send it to Wes. Be able to see that on the website.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one is what I did on my summer vacation. This is an excellent idea coming from Karen.
Dennis, your screen is not being shared.
Dennis. We can't see it, Dennis.
Did you click the two boxes on the bottom, Dennis, of the, or is this not a PowerPoint?
Not sharing a screen yet, Dave.
No.
Is,
But
is
you have
that
to-
is that okay? Do you see? Do
No,
you
we
see the
don't.
video?
No.
No.
You
we
don't?
No.
Okay, so excuse me.
Is this a PowerPoint, Dennis?
No, it's not a PowerPoint.
Okay.
It is an MP4, but what I have to do is
Did you have it
What?
open before you got on Zoom?
excuse me. Okay, I do that again. Share. Okay. Do you see what I did on my summer vacation?
No.
Blank screen.
Do you need? Yeah, you don't. This is the black screen.
Yeah.
Yes, but in the bottom on the left, do you see what I did on my summer vacation?
No.
Can't see it.
No.
Too blurry.
Oh, I
there
see
is.
it in
There-
the
there
corner
it is.
now. Yeah, I see it in the
Yeah,
corner.
there it is.
It's
Yeah.
blurry.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of lag time with the video and the stuff to sort of paint onto the screen.
Oh, okay. The problem is probably it is probably coming from my internet signal. I think it is. I have a low signal.
Okay.
What you can do, Karen, is to go on your on the email I sent to you and
All right.
drive it from
right.
from Dropbox.
Okay, you know, we'll try that at the next meeting then, because we have speakers here, so
Okay.
yeah. Because did you hit play on this? Did you try to hit play on this?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes, I hit. Okay. Let me see again.
okay. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it's not showing play right now, Dennis.
all right. You know what? We'll
Because
let
I
the
s-
speaker go and then we
yes.
can try it again, okay? Do you want to try it after the speaker before the competition or?
Okay.
All right,
We are going to try it after.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we'll try it after, okay.
Okay.
You have to stop share then, Dennis. Yeah.
Okay.
So I need to make Angel
I
a
did.
co-host. Angel, you're a co-host now. So that means you can share your screen with us if you have, I assume, do you have slides or anything or, okay. So if you hit share screen, then we'll see what you have for us.
Are we ready to get started?
Yep.
Think
Okay.
so.
Welcome, everyone. I'm super excited to be sharing some little more information about Crew with you all. My name is Angel. I'm the environmental educator at the Crew Trust. And I actually started going to Crew for the first few times just to take photos. So that's how I started visiting the trails and exploring Crew. And then working there and learning about everything came after that. So it all started with the camera. So that's where my love for Crew started. So I'm super excited to share that with you guys as well. Crew has over 60,000 acres, and it's all public land for you all to experience and see all the nature and wildlife. So I want to show you a little bit about that. So Crew Trust, Crew Land and Water Trust, was established in the 80s, and it's to educate and do outreach for the 60,000 acre Corkscrew Regional Ecosystem Watershed. So that's what Crew stands for. This watershed spans throughout Lee and Collier County, and we have 4 different trail systems. That's what those red stars are on the map there. Those are 4 different trail systems. And our role, Piper and I work for the Crew Trust, and our role is to provide education. We do all sorts of programs from K through Gray, from second graders coming out for a field trip, to specialty programs on the trails, to in-town lectures. We do it all. A lot of people don't know about this land, so it's important for us to get out there and tell people about it. So I want to show you guys a little bit more. There's a picture of our program. A little bit more about Crew. So the watershed is preserved because of these services here. It's a beautiful place to experience and recreate and see all the wildlife, but it also does a lot of things for us. So the watershed collects and stores water, thus giving us flood control. All of the plants and the layers underneath the soil filter our water, so we have clean water. And the watershed also is our source of drinking water. So the aquifers are being recharged, and this is where we get our drinking water in Southwest Florida. And then also all of these wetlands sequester carbon. So this land is beautiful, but it's also doing tons of valuable things for us that we don't necessarily think about when we experience the trails. But you guys want to take pictures of things, and we've got lots of things that live at Crew. We have 597 plant species, over 200 species of birds, over 230 species of insects, 33 species of fish, 32 mammals, and 63 reptiles and amphibians. So that's all that's documented. You never know what you might find out there. You might document a new species. We have our volunteers who regularly go out on the trail, send us emails of the things they find, and they're regularly documenting new insects and new plants and fish that we are adding to our list. So there's always new things to discover in addition to these numbers here. So like I mentioned, we have 4 different trail systems. These are within Lee and Collier County down at the sea down here. That's Bird Rookery Swamp. That's the one that most of you are familiar with. That's our most southern trail and definitely our most popular. That one's off of Immokalee Road. And then down in Bonita, off of Bonita Beach Road, we have Crew Flint Pen. This is our second most popular trail. A lot of people love to hike here and take photos here. There's marshes and lakes and all sorts of different environments. And then up off of Corkscrew Road, our northern trails, we have at B, the Cypress Stone Trails, and at A, the Crew Marsh Trails. So those 4 trails are what make up the trails that the Crew Trust educates about. And then within the 60,000 acres, there's also a bunch of tracks that are closed to the public and are just preserved areas. So I wanted to go over each trail with you all. I know you're very familiar with the Bird Rookery Swamp Trail. This photo of a Florida panther was taken along the boardwalk a few years ago. So you never know what you might see. This loop is over 12 miles, but you don't have to commit to the whole loop. A lot of people just go in a mile and come back out, and there's plenty to see within that mile. You see all of the alligators, lots of wading birds, owls. People have seen bobcats and black bears right off the boardwalk, and then as this photo shows, you don't even have to leave the boardwalk to see something crazy like a panther. So I just wanted to show some of the best photos we have from each of the trails. And these were all taken by our volunteers. Since not a lot of people know about our trails. It's important to have awesome photos to share with people and show whether we're at an outreach event or we're sharing them on social media or we're trying to market an event to get people out on the trails. These photos are what draw people in. This was right off the trail, these white-tailed deer. Lots of different pollinators and insects right along the trail, lots of native wildflowers that line the trails, attract tons of different insects, which are cool to zoom in on and pay attention to. There's an abundance of alligators like we were talking about earlier at Bird Rookery Swamp, but it's always a good chance you can see an otter too. They're always jumping around in the sides of the trail or even taking a nap on the side of the trail. And then at all of our trails, we have lots of amazing native wildflowers that bloom throughout the seasons. This is a scarlet hibiscus, and this is a native hibiscus that grows just along the boardwalks, and it blooms in the late summer, early fall. Crew Flint Pen Strand, that's the one in Bonita Springs. Lots of different habitats here. It's a great place for birding. I haven't mentioned yet, but I'm a big birder, so I love bird photography. So Flint Pen was one of the first places I was exploring along with Bird Rookery. It's really awesome for seeing owls. I almost regularly see a barred owl or a great horned owl when I'm there. And then you can see all of the woodpeckers that we have at Crew, all 6 at Flint Pen Strand along the trails. So it's a great place for woodpeckers, owls, and then along the lakes and the marshes, it's an awesome place to view shorebirds. When those water levels go down just the perfect amount, then there's tons of shorebirds and waterfowl there right around this time of year. So it's perfect to get out there right now. And then there's also some options at this trailhead for wet walks. So you can get your feet wet if you're interested. These photos were taken at Flint Pen, and this is a bobcat hanging out just next to the lake, getting some sun. Big family of deer hanging out. This is a really awesome place to see deer. This is where I saw my first deer living up here. Awesome place to see sandhill cranes as well. There's a lot of kind of prairie fields that they like to feed in, and if you get there early in the morning, you almost always hear them or see them flying over in the morning. And then this is what some of those marshes and lakes look like. It's really beautiful, and also sunset is gorgeous here. It's a great little walk you can do at sunset and see all the birds coming into their rookeries. And like I said earlier, those water levels in this area drop and it's just full of birds. December, January, and February are a great time to come out here and look for those birds in this area. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a great place to see woodpeckers. This is an awesome place to see red-headed woodpeckers, which are more rare around these parts, but these guys are regularly hanging out at Crew Flint Pen. They have an abundance of snags and they have a healthy population there that are reproducing every year. So if you don't even see them, you'll definitely hear them. They're pretty loud and they're always flying around, but they're hard to miss with that bright, beautiful head. The Crew Cypress Dome Trails. This one is off of Corkscrew Road in Immokalee. This is a great trail to see the abundance of wildflowers throughout the seasons, specifically the fall and the spring. There's lots of amazing wildflowers to see, all native. And after recent prescribed fire in the spring this year, our trails are boosting with wildflowers right now. Lots of cool sunflowers and purple flowers. So it's really beautiful to see right now. And then as we get into the spring, it'll be a completely new set of flowers and it'll be just as beautiful. There's lots of different animals here, like bobcats and gopher tortoises. You can see alligators here, and this is a good place to see migratory birds in the fall and the spring. This trail neighbors Caracaro Cattle Preserve, which is another trail, a part of the land project of Crew, managed by Conservation Collier. But this area has an active cattle lease, so once you're done hiking the Crew trails, you can hop over there and see some cows. These are some of those purple flowers I was mentioning earlier. These are called Florida paintbrush. These are blooming like crazy after recent prescribed fire along the trails. And these bright colors are awesome to photograph with the dark green in the back. And you never know what kind of insects are hanging out in the flowers. There's always something new that I'm seeing when I get closer to these flowers. Lots of different bugs, like I was saying. Abundance of different birds. This black vulture there's a big black vulture roost along the Crew Cypress Dome Trail. So this black vulture was still waking up in the morning. It's a box turtle just hanging out right along the edge of the trail. And then the Crew Marsh Trails, which is our most northern trail. This one is just a couple miles past the Cypress Dome Trails off of Corkscrew Road. This trail is my personal favorite. It borders a 5,000 acre marsh, which is a really big, beautiful marsh. There's panthers, deer, black bears, swallowtail kites, and rattlesnakes. And there was prescribed fire even more recently there just this fall. So in the springtime, there'll be lots of cool wildflowers, but right now, if you visit the trails, you can kind of see the progression after the fire of plants coming back and looking nice and healthy. So it's a cool time to make your first visit to the marsh trails so you can see how things change over time. This is a banded water snake along the marsh trails. Bird grasshopper. Another one of my personal favorites, the swallowtail kites. In the spring and the summer, swallowtail kites come to Crew. They migrate 10,000 miles every year just to nest at Crew. Crew is an awesome place to view them and to photograph them. They hang out there all the time and they give you perfect photo opportunities. They circle right around you, they come back, they wait for you to adjust your camera settings, and they circle right back just in time, and they give you plenty of opportunities. And they're an awesome bird to practice on. I've taken countless photos of them every time I'm out and they're here. It's an amazing place to view them. And this trail has an overlook tower just at the edge of the 5,000 acre marsh. And it's a beautiful view, but while the swallowtail kites are here, they're usually circling or feeding just in front of you. And it's an awesome experience. So I definitely recommend coming out in the springtime or in the summertime. This is one of the views from that overlook tower. This is at sunset, some duck potato plants in the marsh with a cool kind of reflection there. And then we have so many more photos that we post on our social media. Part of this partnership that's so cool is that Piper and I aren't always out on the trails ready with a camera to take a photo of everything. And our volunteers and our friends who are out taking photos along the trails always have photos and always are ready. And that's how we learn about a lot of things. That's how we sometimes learn about animal behavior or species. So having a partnership with you guys and being able to go out with you and have you guys share those photos with us will make education possible and share these opportunities with other people. Some people may not come out to Crew and visit the trails, but they might follow us on social media, and that's maybe how they get educated about these species or our trails and the importance of this land. So photos mean everything when it comes to our organization. This is a photo at Flint Pen, and I have a quote here that says, "In the end, we can serve only what we love. We will love only what we understand. We will understand only what we are taught." So in order to allow people to understand the importance of the watershed, we have to teach them about all of these animals and these cool things that are happening. And sometimes there's not an opportunity for them to see it all in person. And that's why these photos can be so crucial to that happening. So photos show 1,000 words, and they help us share our mission and educate more people on general things like, animals, but also specific things like adaptations and specific things that are happening at our trails and new species and things like that. So we're really excited about this partnership. And I would love to answer any questions if anyone has any questions.
Angel, I have one question. I've been to all of them and I've hiked them. And then I'm on a group called Eyes on Conservation 2020. And so I know Lee just purchased a couple properties that are in Flint Penn Strand, which I didn't realize that some of those properties are privately owned. So how does it come about? And do you add any properties to it? Can people add to it?
Yeah,
Or-
so we initially, our mission was specifically acquiring land, and we've acquired a lot of the 60,000 acres, almost 70,000 that we can, but we still buy little parcels here and there or contribute through Conservation 2020 or Conservation Collier. We did contribute recently to 2 parcels near Flint Penn, and they just went through. And yeah, we're still piecing together some of those teeny tiny parcels that are missing, and some of them are private land. Specifically at Flint Penn, that land was only recently a preserve and restored. It was in the 60s and 70s. There was houses there. There was agricultural fields. There was even the tilapia farm. And then it ended up being a dumping ground. So it wasn't until more recently that it was restored and preserved. And there's still people that live nearby because they had to move out of the original preserved area that has only grown since then. So some of the people that lived there moved out, and some of them moved really close by, and some of them are still involved with the Crew Trust. So some of those private landowners regularly work with us and are supportive of us. So there is still a few parcels of private land out there, but I'm not sure how we go about that. I guess there might just be those tiny little parcels that aren't a part of the watershed, I suppose, preserved at least.
Do you rent bikes out there?
We do
or is it-
not, but
you don't?
that's a great idea.
You know,
We'll write that down.
I'd love to do the bike, but I don't have a way of getting my bike out there. I don't have a carrier on my car.
Is
It's
there?
tough. Piper and I were just, what was that?
Is there a fee for the trail?
To go to the trails, there's
Yeah.
just a suggested donation, but it's free to go down the trails.
Okay,
And it's open, every trail is open sunrise to sunset.
okay, thank you.
The trails you can have night access to if you have a camping permit. So we have 2 campsites that are free. And if you have the camping permit, then you have nighttime access to the trails, so you can do nighttime photography and also camp.
Okay, yeah, Angel, we've talked about Angel taking us out on some outings, a couple of outings. We were talking about 3. Do you have any suggestions on where you would like to take us?
I would love to take you guys to the marsh trails when the swallowtail kites are here. I think that would be amazing. They're really amazing to see, but also, like I said, they're a great bird to photograph, and a challenging bird to photograph for sure. So I'd definitely love to do that. But we can find out a sooner.
But you said those are here in the spring, right? So would
Yeah,
that
yeah.
April,
So
would you say, or
we
would
can
that be
definitely do
April?
something. You were saying January?
Right, but the kites are here in like April, right? May, you
Yeah,
said
but
springtime? Yeah,
we can do something else in the meantime and then plan
Right,
for the
right.
spring for the kites.
right. And in January, we were talking about someplace we could go for a night shoot.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
where-
that would be a good time of year.
Yeah, but where was that? I think you told me you had a place where it was pretty solid ground, so nobody would trip. There are no alligators.
I would suggest the Crew Marsh trails for that one as well.
Are there a lot of alligators there though?
No, I rarely see an alligator there. I would say that's the least likely place to see one out of all of our trails.
Okay, so
And-
that's
and
And
That's-
it's the most steady ground, wide trails, grassy. They're our most accessible trails.
That's the one you access first if you're going down Corkscrew, not the second access. Correct?
The Crew Marsh trails, if you're coming down Corkscrew from like 75, then the first one is the Cypress Dome trails, then the marsh trails.
Okay.
And we were to say, so we can do a night one at the marsh trails, Crew Marsh Trails. And if we want to just go out and see birds and wildlife, where would we go in January, say?
I would suggest either Flint Pen Strand or Bird Rookery Swamp. The wading birds and just generally the birds there at those times with the water levels are pretty nice. And both have an abundance of other wildlife and flora to photograph. So I would suggest one of our southern trails for that one. That way you can also not go to the marsh trails every time.
Does anyone else have any questions?
I have a question. So at the Flint Crew Trail, how far in do you have to go to get to some of those marsh areas if you're walking and not riding a bike?
So at Crew Flint Pen, there's 3 different parking lots actually. And when you enter one of our main parking lots, that's really big. That one is for the Red Trail, which is not where the lakes and the marshes are. But if you turn in and you immediately make a right and you go down the road for a little bit, that'll take you to our lakes parking lot. And once you're there, it's a very short walk till you get to those lakes and marshes. And you can choose to just walk a little bit along them, or you can choose to walk all the way around them. You can actually do a loop around the marshes and the lake.
How long is that if you do that?
I would say probably just over a mile.
That's small, short, yeah.
Yeah, it's great because you see a lot.
Yeah.
There are alligators in the water there.
That was one that had some uneven ground, so you had to do a little bit of hiking in a couple areas, going uphill a little bit. I think it was that second part.
The Red Trail has like a hill that you go over and some ruts and things like that.
Is that where the big tub was? There's one that had a big tub in it.
Yeah, there's like I mentioned earlier, it was a dumping ground, and there's still a few remnants that proves that. And there is a tub. Actually, I think we might have removed it within the last couple of years, but there's still like a washer out there and a few tires for sure.
Yeah, there was a boat on one of the paths out there, an old boat, and there was a cross from, I don't know if somebody passed away in one of the areas as well.
On the day that they removed a lot of the debris after they were restoring it, they removed like 900 tires in just one day.
Wow.
Geez. Does your website show the trail distance for all the different trails you have?
Yeah, if you go onto our website, when it says visit crew, there has a tab for each of our trails. And then when you click on each of those pages, it has a trail map. And then it tells you how far each loop is.
Good.
And then when you visit the trails in person, there's also a trail map kiosk with trail maps that have the same map and distance noted.
Well, I think most of us have been to Corkscrew, and that's about what, 2.5 mile round trip, and that's certainly doable for most of us, except for Donna Sutton, who would probably want the 10-mile round trip, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I used to do a lot more of the hiking when my one friend was around. I don't like to go those areas by myself anymore.
Donna, if I were there to go.
We have weekly guided hikes at all of our trails as well. If you ever want to explore on your own, but not necessarily alone, we have weekly guided hikes at all of the trails, different loops and different locations. So you can join and have a guide, and it's nice to experience that. And you don't have to worry about getting lost.
Are they on your website, these weekly guided? They're on the website.
Yep, they're under programs.
Under programs, okay. All right, we have to get together and finalize some dates and let people know when we're gonna do this.
Yeah,
And-
I'll send you some options for January and March for the kites.
Okay, January to March, okay, and everybody has to understand this is during the week because this is Angel's job, so she's working during the week, and most of us are retired, so it would be Monday to Friday. And also, because, you know, they're giving us this special attention, we then send them, you know, some of our better pictures or our best pictures to Crew, so they can use them, like you said, in social media or however it benefits them. So that's the agreement, okay? And it's, I mean, it's just like a portrait shoot. When we have models, you know, we always send back pictures to the models. So we're doing this for nature photographers now, not just portrait shooters. So so that's how we would work it. And our David has a question. What is the website? He's on chat.
I can send a link to the website in the chat,
Okay.
but it is crewtrust.org.
Oh, that's easy. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions? And I will get you those dates, I promise. But they will be Monday to Friday during working hours, but most of us don't know what working hours are anymore. I don't even know what day of the week it is half the time. So I think we should be okay. All right.
A question
Any
about the
questions?
kites. Yeah, I do have a question. I got a little confused. So you said spring and summer for kites, but then you said January to March. When exactly are the kites there, and where can we find them? Where exactly were they? Was that the corkscrew? Trail?
Well, you can see them at all of our trails when they're here, but the best places to see them are the trails along Corkscrew Road, the Crew Marsh trails, and the Crew Cypressdome trails. They're more regularly seen there, and they arrive really close to Valentine's Day, and they're here through the end of the summer. They start to take off around July, August, and start heading south. But January we'll go out and do a night event, and then March the kites will be here by then. They'll just have gotten here for a week or two, and they'll be already starting to construct their nests. So it'll be a perfect time to go see them.
March.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Do they
Okay.
nest here?
What was that, Donna?
Do the kites nest here? Have their babies?
Yeah, they nest in Southwest Florida, and they nest within Crew very regularly.
Yeah, I've seen them there.
Good for you.
Good for you. Okay.
I have my kite earrings on.
Ah. Oh, very cute.
Watch them overhead too. They
Yeah.
put 'em fly overhead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Very good presentation, Angel. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, thank you, Angel.
Well
Of
done, Angel.
course.
Very, very
Yeah, I'm
clear.
so excited.
it very much.
I'm so excited to meet you all in person and
Yeah.
go take photos together.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
we
you're
have-
at the right group for that.
Yeah, we have really good nature photographers here. So I think you'll get some really good images. So, well, thank you, Angel, very much. And get me those dates that are good for you, and then we'll put something solid out to the group, okay?
Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
All right, thanks, Angel.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Dennis is back on. Dennis, do you want to wait till the next meeting to do what I did on my summer vacation, or are you ready to do it now?
Okay, let's try it again.
Okay, but
before-
everybody shut off their video, okay?
Yeah.
Might
Yes.
help. We'll see if it does, okay? All right.
Okay, first of all, Karen, tell me if you see the screen.
Yep. Oops.
Do you see what I did on my summer vacation in the bottom on the left?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Okay, let me see if I
You did, baby. Come on, man.
did I hit the sound and
Come on, man. You can do it.
don't embarrass me.
Yeah. The play button was still not on play.
Okay. Share the sound, optimize for video clips. I think I am okay. Do you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
I see a black screen. I don't see anything. Oh, there it is.
There you go.
You don't see anything?
I
No,
do
no.
now. I do.
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry. I'm
no.
sorry.
We
I'm
see it
sorry. Go
here,
ahead.
yeah.
Please help me.
No,
Don't
here,
embarrass me.
we see it, and it sounded good.
Okay, go.
Hit it. We didn't go anywhere.
Thank you, Dennis.
Nice job, Dennis. You
Yeah.
are getting
Okay.
so good with the music and with the way
Thank you.
it blends in. You're doing an amazing job.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, we've
It was
got
fun.
six
Great
different-
pictures too, guys.
six different focus groups now, Dennis. So you may be overloaded groups. Nice work, Dennis. Excellent.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to turn it
Um,
over to Deb Law. Competition. Do you hear Deb? Because I don't.
Deb, you're muted.
be beside because I was unmuted.
Oh, okay. I thought you were having problems again. I got a little worried. Okay.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. Just to everybody, what the variety of images was just fabulous. So that was really, really fun to see. So we have our first competition of the year. We were going to have it last month or last 2 weeks ago, but we couldn't. So we'll do it this time. And it was lucky because we didn't actually put another competition on for this week, so it was fine. And I made a decision after my little letter that went out last June to drop down to one competition per night and see if we could get more people participating and maybe not have it such a drag of so many images to see in the competition. So we did really well. We have 29 participants and the images are wonderful. So I will start to share my screen. And I would like to begin my slideshow. It's just up behind that black bar. We all know about the black bar, right? I'm just getting rid of this black bar at the top because it's hiding playing my, there we go. No, one more over maybe. Okay. There we go. It was just hiding it. So my huge thanks to our three judges tonight, who are all members of our club, but they come with a wealth of experience, Cynthia, Roman, and Maria, and our thanks to you for judging this evening. So with that, we'll go. What we're going to do is we'll show all the images, and as I show each one, the judges are going to offer their critique right at the time, their suggestions for you and what they loved in the images. And I'll announce the score, and then at the end, I'll show you the winning images again. So here we go. Monochrome, November 28th. So judges, make sure you unmute yourself, and then you can begin. And the first one is Cynthia, I think.
Right. So there's great impact in this image, I think, from the way that you captured the drama of the Milky Way and the really broad range of whites and grays and blacks. It's just beautiful and very sharp and just a beautiful capture there. And then I think the portrait and elongated shape, the aspect ratio really works well to enhance that impact. And the way that you've juxtaposed the beautiful curved tree, the bottom, the foreground, leading up to the, really pointing and leading up to the sky and everything that's happening there. And then you've also captured the rim lighting on that curve, which is really a nice thing. So my only suggestions are minor. And I just thought, because you really want to emphasize that impact of the tree and this and what's going on in the sky, that maybe my eye was sort of distracted in the lower right, because there's stuff there, but it's not really contributing to the overall impression. So I would have darkened that. And then I think there might be a little bit of a downward, minor, but downward tilt in the water behind in the distance, and maybe straightening that a little bit would add to the impact. So that was a great image.
Thank you. This image scored 25. Let me just remind people that the judges have scored these images ahead of time. They received the images, and then they each send me their scores, and I just add the three numbers together. So this scored a 25.
Can I add my comment to this, right, for critique as part of it, or no, just go with the ones we did?
Yeah, I think just go with the ones you did, Roman. Just
Okay.
well, I guess we have time, actually. If there's something you'd like to say,
I would have, I applaud the maker here, you know. I do night photography, so kudos to you. I would have never have thought to translate this to black and white. Holy cow, with the line on the tree and the Milky Way, the way you handled it, kudos to you. I would have never have thought to do a Milky Way in black and white. You pulled something off that even I didn't think you could, you know, in black and white. Very nicely done.
thank you, Roman. That's really nice. And here's your image.
Again, love the side lighting. I love the detail. So black and white to me is you need to have from white to black. You have detail in the model's hair. Total profile. You know, again, I'm not sure. Slightly towards you, maybe a little bit. That was my only complaint on this one. But you really handled the white to black very well with great detail in her hair. Face, the nose, you know, most people are going to say, I don't want to see the profile. So for me, just try to tone those down a little bit and maybe work on the pose.
Man, that's beautiful.
22.
Sheesh. Tough group here.
Okay, this one's
Okay.
mine.
Yes, Maria.
Just so everyone knows there, I sound like I'm reading because that's what I'm doing. I translate
Fine.
everything, so just okay. I really like the sense of isolation that captured in the scene, heightened by the bare trees in the background, and it adds to the wild and remote atmosphere of the location. I like the contrast of the cabin logs against the faded metal roofing is very striking, I find. And I really like the chosen angle from which the photo was taken. I would have loved to have seen this location in a larger format, meaning the current framing feels a bit tight. And for me, I would have been more to include other objects in the photo to contribute to overall story. I'm assuming that the maker probably had something that they didn't want to show, but overall, it's a great photo.
This image scored 19. Okay.
That's me.
Yeah.
So what stands out to me is the way the composition really draws the eye in and through the image with the dramatic upward perspective, and using the buildings and the shadows to do that, so that the darker framing, you know, just compels you to look first at the foreground because the details are beautiful and beautifully rendered, and then upward to the lighter and the grand building behind with all the beautiful details. So I think it really, really, really works, and there's a lot of movement as a result of the way it's composed. My only suggestion relates to the sky, which to me is processed in a way that brings it too far forward, and therefore it sort of disrupts this flow off to the dramatic flow off to the up and into the distance. And although it's, you know, it's tempting to show those clouds that way because they're beautiful, I just personally think that it's too far forward and just might disrupt the flow of the image.
Okay, thank you. This scored 22. On track.
So on the bigger, when I viewed it on the bigger screen, it had quite a bit of texture, kind of an old school film texture, Polaroid texture. And for me, the only issue I really had with this, I was okay with the texture, but the young man who is on the tracks, I don't think you needed as much to the right. I think you would have benefited of getting some off the right and then getting some. I like the bottom lines. So I would have gone to the top, put them in the top rule of thirds. So a little off the right, because I don't care about the right. I care about the figure in the scene. And that's basically, I think this one just benefits from a crop.
Okay, thank you. This scored 19.
Okay,
Above
this
the
was
way.
green.
Mhm.
I like the maker's choice to fill the frame with the two hot air balloons. I find that this approach defines the lines, their shape, and the textures, and that captivates the viewer's attention. Having other balloons in the background creates a real great depth of feel also. The patterns of the flowing clouds I really like, also complements the subject. I would suggest utilizing the shadow slider in Lightroom to just a little to enhance the details of the background balloons. And also consider employing the Photoshop grid to level out just a little bit the horizon. Not too much, but for a more balanced composition. Good job.
This scored 19 also. And here we have Asheville Blonde.
This is to me, it's a very compelling image with the the beauty in her eye and the swirls of hair, framing that in a way that really tells the story of the title, Asheville Blonde. The tight crop, I think, is wonderful because it enhances the emotion and that personal connection that you have as a viewer. And of course, the details are all rendered, beautifully sharp. And then, so one suggestion, and the background is fine, but I think if you really wanted to have greater impact, I would have darkened the background and just let her beautiful hair and all the shadows and the lights and everything and her face just pop out a little bit more.
Thank you. This scored 22. And if anyone's wondering, we can certainly do that in PSA rules in monochrome. You can certainly dodge and burn or darken some places and lighten others. That's
And I agree with Cynthia. That was my thought process. The upper left and the right-hand side, just darken them. Wow.
So that is certainly allowed, just letting people know that. Here we have 9/11.
That's Cynthia.
This is a tough one for me because, I would live 13 miles outside of here and I watched the towers fall. So for me, when I see the image, it really brings back a lot of memories. And I think that for me, and this is the one that I really struggled with, is the tonal range of the fountain, the pool, the sky. So for me, the sky with all the whites and the clouds, very dramatic, but I think if you tone down those clouds, bring up the contrast a little bit on the buildings and pull up the shadows of the pool, I think it's a stronger image because the dark area on the bottom is drawing my eye, the clouds are drawing my eye. So kind of an in-betweener here for me. I think if you work on the highlights, work on the shadows, I think your interpretation of this are going to be very strong.
Thanks, Roman. This scored 23.
Soccer.
Oh, this one's mine. This is a beautiful composition. Everything is so well balanced, from the distant mountains to the layered elements from top to bottom. It creates fantastic tones. What captivates me the most is the clouds. It's amazing how the atmospheric effects contribute to the sense of movement, drama, and emotional appeal. The long winding road guides the eye towards a distant mountain range, the invisible continuation of its path towards those distant mountains, giving the impression of a graceful journey that seamlessly transports out there. Is that well said or not?
Yes.
It's certainly an outstanding monochrome image, in my opinion.
Great. This scored 22.
Got more.
this is.
I think that's mine.
Cynthia.
Great example of how to capture a waterfall with such softness and flowing light, and the juxtaposition, you know, juxtaposing that with the beautiful darker contrast of the context of the trees and rocks, and all with, you know, great sharpness and detail, and a really compelling range of white through all the grays and blacks. So very dramatic. And there are pros and cons, I think, of including people in an image like this. I think they add to the story, and I think that they bring the viewer into being there, which is a nice thing to do. And I even like the energy of the person in the foreground who's a little blurred from the action, because again, it adds a little bit of movement. But I do find the fact that the people are looking to the right and the person over to the right is looking extremely to the right. I find that a bit distracting, because you really want to be focusing on the waterfall. And I think if they had been, it would have been more compelling. But I like that technique. And also, the last thing I would say is that I would have had the water a little bit brighter and increase the contrast thereby.
Thank you. This scored 19. I'd like to add that the maker let me know when he or she sent me the image that this was actually film. This is a true monochrome image, because it was taken with a film camera.
Oh, wow.
And so that's one thing to notice. We rarely see that, but it's fun to see. The other thing is that borders are allowed in our competition. Some people like them, some people don't, but I might just point out that the maker put that on, and that is acceptable. So it's interesting. Okay. Here's Ready to Ride.
So this is for me, the epitome of a black and white image. You have.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
We'll be back.
Wait.
Excited. Did you get excited, Deborah?
My hand hit the.
You have the tonal range. I know the image, so I'll keep talking about it.
That's all right. I'm back. Oh, I have
you have the tonal range. So if you're talking black and white, you have white to black, and every shade in between. You have the depth on the rider, the dog, maybe. And again, when we talk about it, a little bit of nitpicking or very critical, because I know how good the club is, tone down the white on his shoulder, because it's going to the rider's shoulder a little bit. So see if you could tone that down on his arm, because I think you have phenomenal depth of black to white. You've isolated the rider very well from the background. The dog is very good. Maybe the front leg, same tone down. So that's my only recommendations.
Thank you. That scored 21. Elegance.
Yes, this is a really good shot. The elegance of a stunning egret engaged in courtship behavior. I love how they're so graceful, and the flow of the egret's body and the display of its feathers. It's very beautiful. The achieved simplicity of the background setting further emphasized the clear separation and detail of its feathers. I also really like the discreetly curved branch framing the lower portion of the image. I think adds a subtle touch. I think your title is indeed fitting, but someone might want to add more to it if they wish.
No. This scored at 22. Here we have tattoos.
Okay, great subject, and you've really captured an interesting expression and all the artistic details of the tattoos. Everything is very sharp, and the center placement works well, I think. The wall he's standing in front of seems brightly lit by natural light, which frames him really well. Though I think it makes to me, the composition a little bit unnatural and flattened, because he doesn't have the same light on him. He's not as brightly lit, and you don't see as that what you might expect is a little more contrast in the lights and shadows on him, and the white rose being underneath his arm. It's a little bit bright for me. So I think just some processing suggestions, because it's a really interesting and wonderful image, but I just felt that the light, I don't know if it was manipulated at all, but it seemed a little bit unnatural to me.
Roman, do you want to add something on this?
Yeah, I gave it a top score because I believe that you have, when you look at the tones from the rose to his pants and everything else like that. But now looking at it, again, we can talk about this for a long time, darkening the background a little bit to make him pop, lightening the model or the gentleman who's posing with the tattoos. I think you've got the tones on a black and white that are really impressive. His face is not blowing out. The background, I thought the same thing originally. That was like, okay, this the background too bright, and I went back and forth with this one for a long time. But it makes him pop, So for me, you could probably work this 10 ways, from now. But I think this was a strong composition, strong image, and very well presented. And I'm not a people person, okay? I don't do that. So, I don't usually photograph models. So for me, this one, when I saw it, I went, okay, is the background too bright? But look at how it helped his silhouette.
Yeah, I didn't think it was too bright. I just felt that the light you would expect the light to be a little bit more variation on him.
Right. And again,
but I love the
tattoos and everything else like that.
That's nice.
Again, we could play with that. I think the maker who did this, try it. Can't hurt. I think this is a very strong image.
Thank you.
Compositionally and everything else.
This scored 23. Melody of Grit and Soul.
So I am not usually a shallow focus guy, that's definitely anti-Roman, but this to me just reeks of that strong black and white, the strong tones where the bass player in the background with the hat falling off, the singer, and this to me is definitely, again, one of those images that I looked at and I said, this is old school black and white. I've been doing it a while, so for me, I thought this one had a lot of drama because of the harsher whites and the harsher blacks, and in particular, the depth of field really blew me away, and the angle and the composition and everything else like that. That's why I really like this one.
Thank you. This scored 22. Sea of Stones.
Oh, is that mine?
Yep.
Okay. So what stands out to me in this image is the dramatic sky, which is the lightest and the darkest part of the scene, draws you in, and also the interesting and sharp, details of the stones in the foreground. The layering works really well in this image. There's a lot to see as you move through the image. The mountain and foreground areas would have a lot more impact, I think, if there were more contrast in those areas of what's showing the light and the shadows and would lead your eyes somewhere in the middle there. I think that would be really nice. And I don't know whether you darken the sky, but I found that just a little bit distracting, just a bit. But those are my only suggestions.
Okay, thank you. This scored 20. Busy Bee.
This is a great composition. It's nicely framed. The bee appears incredibly sharp, creating a beautiful contrast with the soft upper part of the background. The texture patterns on the bee's skin, both the hairy and the non-hairy areas, are clearly visible. And the captivating the eye with the catchlight is truly a bonus. A suggestion would be to use a bit of burning in Photoshop to eliminate the bright highlights in the lower left background, enhancing the separation from the subject. Additionally, I would experiment with the burning tool over the flower petals. It could reveal more texture, providing the image a greater impact. But very nice.
Great. This scored 24.
And I agree with the assessment. If you had just toned down that lower part of the image, the petals that she was talking about and that corner, I think this would have done much better.
Okay. Walking tree.
Oh, that's me.
That's you, Roman.
All right, so this one's got a lot going on. I like the textures and even the depth of field fall off, but I want you to all look at this as a vertical instead of a horizontal. I always tell people in my workshops or in anything that I do, try it as a vertical, try it as a horizontal, whatever your first theory is, and then try it, because I think the interest, that 1/3 of the right side is not nearly as exciting as the fall off on the doors and that left side. So, for this one, just crop it. I think you have a nice fall off, nice feel on everything else like that. Where the tree root on the right, I'm going to say 1/3 on the right, okay? And the 1/4 on the left, I think you have a much stronger image. So for me, this one was only a crop. I love your tonal value. I love everything else. So for me, just crop this one down.
Thank you. This scored 20. E.T. Come Home. Maria.
Thank you. This is a great sense of peace and calmness in this image. I like the pathway, the palm trees, and the dark forest in the background. And I think it contributes a good sense of depth. Helps guiding the eye gracefully toward the base of the Milky Way. The well-executed contrast tones adds to the overall impact in this monochrome image. I think it's a beautiful rendition of the Milky Way. I have yet to explore Milky Way, so maybe Cynthia Roman would have anything else to add to this, how they would correct this, if any.
So my only recommendation, and I'm going to say ditto to the other one, vertical. But that galactic core, so what you see there above the palm tree on the left is the galactic core, and that's usually the brightest part of the image. So when you process this image, you have to be careful not to process it globally. By that I mean you can't include that in the rest of your processing, because that's going to blow out, and that's why it's so bright here in the black and white. If you omitted that or toned it down and took the rest of this to that brighter level, I think you would have a much more impactful Milky Way image, even as presented.
What's it called, the bright area?
It's called the galactic core.
Okay.
And that's usually from down here in Florida. I'm going to go with March through October. So you see that above the palm tree on the left, that little arm sticking out and everything else like that? That's called a galactic core. And in the northern hemisphere, we see it from basically March to April on to September, October. I did Sanibel Lighthouse with that. So that brightest part that you see there, part of the galactic core on the bottom, you gotta be really careful with that one when you're processing, because that one is going to show up first, very bright.
Okay, great, thank you. This scored 22. The last stop, Cynthia.
Okay, well, I think the story is conveyed really well here with the focus, first on the sort of broken down vehicle and the beautiful shadows from the wheels. And the interesting shapes, and then there's also an interesting shape in the dark shadow behind the wheels that leads you up the upper level, and that interesting abandoned structure there. Lots of texture, lots of interesting things to look at. I'm sure you tried or may have tried different perspectives as you were taking this picture, and I'm wondering if you had moved a little bit more to the left, I think you would have even more dramatic and beautiful shadows from both of the wheels, which might have been pretty amazing, a little bit more impactful. And then I think also you would see that structure up on the upper level with a little more grandeur and a little less focus. My eye goes more to the right and some of the dark areas to the right. And I think I would love to see it a little bit more from the straight on. So those are just some suggestions, but I really think it was a great story that you were capturing there.
Thanks, Cynthia. This scored 21. Back home. Roman.
Right, so very similar to what I said on the railroad tracks image, because I always tell people I don't mind. I think you handle the textures well. I don't mind that the figure in the scene is as dark as they are, because bottom line is you have separation between the light lamp on the left, but that tree on the left, again, this is a simple crop. We're not talking about major corrections. We're not talking about anything crazy. Crop off from the left to the light post and off the top equally for that branch that's peeking in. I think you have a much stronger image. And again, you have to realize, I'm a member of a camera club for 35 years, that it's not usually a huge difference in the image. Just crop that tree on the left, as dark as it is dragging my eye. I love that lamppost that you got over there, and just crop off the left and the top, and you're going to have a much stronger image.
I also want to comment that I thought the mood that was created was really beautiful with the
Yeah.
tones.
Yeah, you've got mood, you've got impact, you've got everything else like that. You've got it. Just why do I need that dark tree on the left and the branch coming in off the top?
Great.
And simple crop. This one scores higher.
Thank you. This is 22, scored 22. Amelia in the shadows.
Amelia, how gorgeous is she? Huh?
Yeah.
Your subject radiates comfort. She has an attractive expression, soft and dreamy feeling. I like the smoothness of her skin and her face angle, the clear catchlight in the eyes. I think it all contributes to the overall charm of her. The maker also applied an effective level of tonal contrast, distinguishing the background from the subject and providing a sense of depth. The lighting from both side windows are well balanced. It casts a soft glow throughout the image. It's subtle, but I think it has an impact. I'm captivated by the gracefulness of her hands and the positioning of her arms, especially the one draped over her head against the window. Her entire body language exudes elegance. My only suggestion would be to gently reduce the shine of her nose and a little bit of her forehead, just a little, by using the brush tool or a clone stamp in Photoshop. In my opinion, I think these adjustments would create a striking image. I don't know if you agree, Judge, but
That's great. Thank you.
Maria, I agree with you. The only thing I would see is if the maker can bring up some more depth on her hair.
oh wait, yes.
You know,
But-
that's the only thing. I agree with everything you said. If they could bring up a hair more detail in her hair, more detail in her hair. Okay, never mind.
Oh, great point, great point.
This
I just
scored.
love, she looks so calm. I wish I could be like that. I cannot look elegant like that. I can never sit still. Anyways, I think the photographer did a great job in making her feel really comfortable, or she must be a real pro at the model, because she's fantastic.
This scored 23.
Oh, no, it should be 28. Very nice.
That's my, so what really stands out to me in this image is the way the diagonal lines all converge to highlight the beauty and drama of the mountain and sky. Good sharpness throughout, starting with your focus on the details of the fence in the foreground. And this leads from the bright sun, you know, back to the lovely shadows in the mountain area. My suggestion relates to the balance in the photo. I think there's too much, they think the fence area on the right commands just a little bit too much attention maybe. And by cropping quite a bit in the foreground to that fence, still leaving it there so it leads you in, and it'll be a little bit more balanced with the designs on the left than it is right now. I just think it would just enhance the beauty of what you want the viewer to take in with the mountains and the whole scene.
Okay, thank you. This scored 21. Desert Train. Okay, Robert.
I hate sounding like a broken record, but I believe that the crop, I don't need 2/3 of the right of the image. The back of the train, I get it why you did it. You're standing on the railroad tracks. But the impact for me is the rails leading up to the train, maybe one bush vertical. You know, turn that camera. Then we're having a conversation about how much stronger it is, because the impact is of the locomotive, of course, if you're photographing trains. And the caboose cars that are going black, gray, and white, that's fine. For me, I don't need 2/3 of that right side, because I'm looking at the scene and then I'm going to the right and I'm going, why am I there? So, you know, just simple crop to a vertical, and you will see how much more impact you have on this image.
I wanted to make one comment on that because I know I agree with what you're saying, but I think for a desert scene, there's something quite beautiful for getting that wide angle feeling and the desert and the vista is so beautifully receding out. I don't know. I think maybe a little crop, but I guess I wouldn't go quite as far as you to a vertical.
Well, so for me on that one was that little, I don't know what I would call it, a sand pit by that second bush over there, you know, that doesn't have the interest.
Yeah,
and that's where I said, okay, we can go tighter from the top. Okay, so now we have two possibilities for you to explore as the maker. Take down off the top, do it a panel almost, right? Because you like that background, and tone down that I call the sand pit, you know, sandy area, whatever it is below that bush, the second bush on the right. So now that's the beauty of photography. Now you have two possibilities of a presentation, which, you know, now that you've told me that, I'm kind of looking at that. That would be kind of cool, because now you have the length of the train, but I don't need that much sky, so I'm going to hack off half the sky, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You know, and again, maker, try both. There's nothing we can't do today.
Okay, this scored 22. Train.
Nice.
Office tower.
Okay, the office tower. This image showcases an interior structure with compelling design elements. It's visually appealing. The play of light highlights the geometry, the surroundings, the shadows on the ground adds depth, creating a sense of expansiveness. Worth mentioning is how the upper level arch contributes the aesthetic appeal, and capturing people crossing over establishes a clear sense of scale. I think each intersection has a potential point of interest, creating a visually interesting image. I don't know if you want to add how, if someone wants to think they could improve this image. Rowan or Cynthia?
I really like this image, and the only minor thing I might have done, I think it's beautiful, is because the right-hand side is, if there's two diagonals on an architectural shot, it kind of can work. But when the right-hand side was straight, I thought maybe a little bit of a crop on the left. You'll still see some angle, but it might just make it a little bit more balanced. But I love the way they captured this image.
The crop on the right or the left?
Left, but
Left,
not much.
okay.
Just to get a little bit of that emphasis on the fact that it's a big diagonal, but I think it's minor thing.
Interesting.
And Cynthia, how much, are you going to remove that whole window?
No, I wouldn't remove
There?
even the whole opening there. I would just maybe go up to a nice stopping point, one of the corners of that dark space. Just because it might, my eye kind of went there a little bit too much, and I want to see from the foreground the beautiful shadows, crossing over, and then the way that the whole thing has a great depth of field because the figures above are smaller. I mean, it's just a lovely shot and quite unusual, actually. So I just thought minor suggestion, because I'm always playing with architectural lines, and
Which is actually kind of interesting, because now we're having this discussion. Hope we're not going to run long. That left window opening, if we can not clip the sky bridge or whatever, and I'm trying to put up my hand to it, and originally my objection was the guy on the left Christmas tree, but he's got separation.
Yeah.
And now that I'm looking at it, if we just crop off the left
a little,
again, not that sky bridge that the other two figures are walking over. So I'm just going with another crop. Go figure.
Okay.
I think, again, this has a lot of impact with the strong contrast.
Great, thank you. This card 23. Martian sky.
Martian sky. Well, the tonality and the way the light is portrayed in this image are really compelling. And I assume the reference to a Martian sky relates to the way the dust is adding drama to the sky, which is quite beautiful. The delicate details of the trees are quite amazing, and all the lovely and sharp designs in the marshy area in the foreground. Everything like that contributes to the beauty and the emotional feeling of this image. And so I'm going to play a Roman here and say that I think in this one there's so much emphasis on the right hand side of this picture. I would crop a lot of the left and make it a vertical, because I really think I wouldn't go all the way to the trees, but I would go at least to a square anyway, but maybe even to a vertical, just because there's so much going on in this picture to the right and there's really nothing going on the left. So that would be my recommendation. It's a beautiful image.
Great. This image scored 20. Here's Sienna.
Right. So
Roman.
A lot like the other images we have seen, the brightness on her face. Well, again, I'm a big fan of a stark black and white. But on this one, I need more depth in her hair. So that way, again, it gives her a little depth, because we've got the fronds that are going on the left-hand side of her hair. I wish I saw more depth in her hair. That's where I would start. See if you can tone down some of the highlights on her forehead, cheeks, and everything, nose. But again, I'm a big fan of the stark black and white, but I think her hair needs more detail. So see if you can pump the hair up to get more depth, because I think then the starkness is going to be not a problem.
Great. This image scored 24. Tranquil twilight.
It's a nice capture of tranquil nighttime image. It gives such a calming effect to the eye. I like how the dense canopy of the shaded pines in the background alongside the tree on the far right and the moon, with a tiny little moon, all three captivating a depth in the scene. For a monochrome image, I think achieving a more balanced distribution of tunnel range would elevate the overall composition. And what I mean by that is, in my opinion, providing a greater visual distinction for the lower part of the tree trunk, the first tree, the big subject there, against the dense, if you would enhance the overall, how do I say? Okay, I didn't write this down, hang on. For the lower part of the tree against the dense background, it would enhance the overall impact. If you gave it a brighter, more texture to the bottom tree, I should say. It would help the viewers gaze throughout the picture frame. Would you add anything on this? I thought this one was difficult to, for me.
I think that's great, actually, Maria. That's good. This scored
I agree.
19. Yeah. The Hills of Palouse.
So the close-up view is really effective. It's almost got some abstract feeling. And I think it's effective because it shows the scale of these amazing swirling hills in relation to the small farmhouses and trees. The depth of field conveys the vastness because things recede into the top of the picture. And then the light and shadows, create a lot of movement, which makes it almost feel like the ocean to me, which I thought was a really nice effect. The light overall is strong, and which makes it difficult to find a focal point. And also it reduces the amount of detail. It's kind of hard to see those trees and little farmhouses, and I really think they're important to the composition. I really liked them, but I think they're a little bit obscure because of the bright light throughout. And then the last thing I'd like to say is that I think the black and white choice kind of reduces the impact a bit too. It's lovely, but I think the color might have really made this pop.
Great, thanks. This scored 19. Royal Palace Madrid. This is our last image.
Great. I really like your composition. You've got some strong light coming in here, and I want to see if you can rework this image. Not worried about the strong lights coming in from the left. That's the sun coming into the hallway. What I would really like you to try and see if you can do is bring up some of the shadows on the how am I going to call this? The center of the image, the arches that are coming in. Because I think if you can do that, I think you're going to have a very, very strong image. And I would probably tweak it to that column on the left, just because, and maybe but see if you can bring out the arches that are leading me down to the center. So again, that white harshness, I'm okay with that. Again, it's black and white. See if you can tweak the arches to bring them up in the shadows. I'm not talking about a ton. More detail in the arches and the ceiling in the center of the image. That is my only recommendation.
Okay, thank you. This scored 21. And those were fabulous images, such a variety, and judges' comments have been really wonderful. Now here are our winners. In first place, Alan Estlin with The Midnight Hour. So judges, I think you nailed that one. And then in second place is Busy Bee, Kathleen Culligan. Congratulations. And so we had, actually, I'm sorry. Let me just look at this, Busy Bee. I need to just go back to show you Sienna, because I got one out. This was also tied for second place. So we had Busy Bee and we have Sienna in second place. And then we have a number of honorable mentions. What happens is when we have a tie for second place, we don't have a third place. So it was first 2 seconds and then honorable mentions.
Who was the other Sienna's the maker for that one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I kind of mucked that up. For Sienna, I should have gone over this again. This is Donna Sutton, second place for Sienna. Congratulations, Donna.
Oh, yes.
And then to honorable mentions, we have Dave Garrison for 9/11. And we have Kathy Dunker for tattoos. And we have Karen Reagan for Amelia in the Shadow.
Yay.
And we have Deborah Law for Office Tower.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is it for our competition for this evening. Thank you everyone for submitting.
Great images.
Yeah.
Congratulations, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you, Deb, for running the competition. Wonderful competition and wonderful critiquing. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you, judges.
I was, when we went to one image per night, I wasn't sure that was gonna work, but that was.
It's a good
it's
idea.
right, it worked perfectly. It gave enough time to make really detailed critiques that that serve as a teaching moment.
Yeah, I
And
noticed
it
that
was
we had our
excellent. It wasn't rushed. We're still finished 15 minutes ahead of time.
Yeah.
The meeting did not seem rushed at all. Good
But
job, everyone. Yeah,
thank you
especially the
very much.
judges. Your comments were,
Just fabulous.
Roman, your comments are excellent. Maria, you're getting so strong with your
Oh,
comments.
jeez.
I got embarrassed of Maria. You are. You're
Yes.
getting. I know it's a difficult. You have to write it in French and translate it to English, and it's a lot of work. But you are dead on with your comments. And
Right.
Cynthia Taft, you are always good.
Yeah.
So it's just a good group of people judging.
And
Yes.
everybody else who's here, you know, there's a lot of different opinions or whatever, likes, whatever, you know, blah, 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 this and that, as you've seen. I told Dave a long time ago, right, Dave? Don't take it personally, just listen and learn. And don't take it personal, because the bottom line is you enter it one time and it might be one thing, and you enter it a second time, it might be another thing. But if you learn from the critiques, hopefully,
Yeah.
that's what you want. That's ultimately what you want.
That's exactly it. It's
And we learned something too.
yeah.
Yeah, all of us, you know, maybe I wake up tomorrow and I score the competition totally different. You know, it's maybe I'm sensitive to reds today. I've been doing this for a long time, and I have people in my camera club in New Jersey saying you're critical, and all of a sudden they're telling me I'm a cream puff. I go, which one is it? You know, which one is it? You know, am I a cream puff or am I tough? You know, so it happens, but again, Dave has brought a very friendly, let's photograph together atmosphere. Dave, kudos to you. You know, I've told you that
You
once.
are
I've
you
told
are
you
way
that
too
1,000
kind.
times, my
Way
friend.
too kind.
You know, no,
It's
you
everybody in the club
definitely
that's
brought
doing
it.
it. Yeah, no, you
And
tell me
Deborah,
that.
nice Canadian Rockies background.
Yeah.
Yes. I just want to add that I love doing this. It's just that I lack confidence in how to make it better, like you guys,
Oh.
Cynthia and Rowan, geez.
Maria,
right on
Maria,
top.
you did a great
Maria,
job.
you
I
did a
know.
great job,
I
Maria.
just-
Your comments were so
I
well
wish-
thought out.
Oh,
And the
It
more you
was-
do it, Maria,
Yeah.
the more
Yeah.
confident you will become because
Yeah.
your images and everything you do are going to just
Mm.
make you improve. I
yeah.
tell nobody rolled out of bed, at this level. So again, you
Yeah, that's
did
great.
very well with your critiques and you're doing very well. So just keep it up. Don't be discouraged because
No,
that's
no.
the worst thing.
No, I like
What a
that
great
there's
trio.
I like how they're different, like Cynthia and Rowan, you both had different
Yeah, it's a nice combination.
perspective there, and that's why we have 3 judges, I think.
Yeah, it is. That's right.
Yeah, it's really good.
Probably one of the few clubs that still do this live.
Wow.
Right.
Judging.
Yeah, yeah, it's,
Really wonderful thing.
it
And not
is a,
one-sided, not everybody agrees,
Right,
again,
right.
we disagreed, so what? We have different tastes, okay, so what?
Right.
Not the end of the world.
yeah.
Oh, it's nice
a-
seeing all you guys. I miss
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we want you come down here on your way to Mexico, do
Oh,
something.
yes, I know. I'm hoping I'm not gonna have any problems, but apparently they do have electricity problems there, a lot of times. So if they do, oh my God, I gotta count on Google to translate, because if not, there's no way I can do this live, kind of.
Oh, you are doing a great job, Maria.
I know, it's
Don't sell
nice.
yourself short. You're
But
excellent. You're
I'm
excellent.
looking forward, thank you. I'm looking forward to taking many photos and share them with you. We're there for 4 months, so geez, there better be one. I know.
Okay.
Yes.
What part of
Just
Mexico?
get a bird for next competition, Maria.
Yeah, we're going to Puerto Vallarta.
Mhm.
But
Oh.
I have a lot of friends there
How
now.
did you pronounce that? That sounded so
Puerto
neat.
Vallarta.
That's Puerto Vallarta?
Yeah, that's what I
You
said.
sound so much sexier
Very
than the way we
intimate.
pronounce it.
Funny.
The accent, she's got the accent.
You got it.
Think about the love boat, Dave.
There you go.
Vallarta,
Puerto
you know?
Vallarta, yeah.
Well, hi, Donna. I
Okay,
miss you guys.
we miss you too.
Oh, yeah, well, and Dave Garrison, it was great to see him.
Did Dave leave? I was gonna introduce him to everybody.
Oh,
Is he must have brought, oh, there he is. Dave, you're there.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Everybody who does not know Dave was the president of the Naples Camera Club for 10 years.
Okay.
Kept the club together and
Oh,
put
yes.
a lot of the things in there that we've taken and expanded on. Dave was
I
the
was
one
on
that
the
made
search
things
committee
happen.
that got him.
Oh, yeah.
What's that? Is that
I was
right?
on the search committee that got Dave
Wow.
Oh,
president.
well,
Well,
Dave was not just the president, but the winner of many competitions.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh,
yes.
Dave is a
He was,
master.
weren't you up there in the 700 point range?
Yeah, he is, Dave.
Yeah,
Harlan, yes, you're right.
the rest of us are
Dave,
down
I've
there.
been there, president for life with you. I'm done. 7 years. I was done.
Yeah,
So I let Dave McFarland wrangle me in, and say, okay, you got to do this. It's interesting. And again, the camaraderie of the club and everything else from the board and everything else like that. It's fantastic. So
Roman.
we do have something special going. I see it. It's there are no cliques. Everyone likes everybody else. When you sit down, whoever you sit with, you're going to talk to and enjoy their company. It's we've got something special going. We got to keep that same spirit going.
Where's Brenda?
Recording, remember.
Brenda,
Yeah, where is
she's
she?
here. She's
recording.
black and there's
Oh,
she may
okay.
not be here, but she's here.
Okay. Like
There
to
she
see-
is.
Oh, there she is. Hello, Brenda.
Did you two ever come across each other this
No.
summer? You only live
No.
about 20 minutes apart. My gosh,
I know we're gonna do it this summer,
do
right?
it this summer.
Brenda?
You got it. Okay.
I've been participating in the local competition and got a blue ribbon at the Iowa State Fair this year.
Oh,
Oh boy, way to
big.
go.
Wow.
why
So that
don't you
was-
send your image in and we can see it? Send it to Dennis. We can see it next time.
Yeah, we'll put it
Your winning
on.
image.
I
We
think
don't
you've
have
seen it.
anybody from Iowa winning awards anymore, David.
And so everybody that's online, by the way, I'm moving to North Naples. And for those of you who do not know, because I know Dave is in Naples, the bald eagles M15 and
Oh, yeah?
female 24 have laid 2 eggs. There's 2
Oh,
eggs
good.
in the nest. So look up Southwest Florida Eagle Cam.
Yeah.
Where in North Naples?
So the only thing I can give you, the Bayshore Drive is where the place is. You can't actually go on the property, but the bald eagles that are nesting there, last year the nest was destroyed. They have 2 eggs. Right now they have 2 eggs.
Great.
So look up Southwest Florida Eagle Cam and you'll see all the
Yes.
information.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
North Fort Myers where it is, and there's a church right next door, so they don't mind that you park there as long as you're not there during, service hours. But
You're right.
there's shade. There's always people there with cameras, so you'd have somebody to talk to. You'll know you're in the right spot when you see all the tripods.
Right, and they have 2 eggs right now.
Great.
Yeah,
So
I followed that. For many years, I looked at that and I didn't see it this year. Usually it's close to Christmas. No?
well, so I'm building my house up there, so we're going every weekend. So
Nice.
we saw it and it was like, okay, I know where I'm going every day.
Perfect.
They said expect the babies around Christmas, Maria.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. That's
Yeah.
what it is. I look at it from home and I'm saying, oh, it's just so nice.
And the female from last year either died, they don't know how,
Oh,
whether it was the hurricane or whatever. So he remated with a new female. Right now, Wink News, okay, so if we care about them, they said that there's 2 eggs in the nest right now.
Do they
nice.
lay another one or are they done laying eggs?
Well, hey, dude, I don't know. I guess it
they
depends how
usually-
busy they are, Dave.
Okay.
Again, I'm not gonna go there.
Okay.
Yeah, they just
I
laid
got
the
it on my
second egg
feed.
yesterday is what, and they repositioned the camera, so it should be a better shot than what has been there before, because they put the camera in a little different place or refocused it some way.
Well, next, I started looking at, while we were going through different things, I wrote down what's coming up next week. And we have, with this focus groups, we have just exploded. We have got on the 5th, 6th, and 7th, we've got the birds going to Ding Darling. On the 4th, we've got a portrait group that's Dippy Sig, but most of us are actually Naples Camera Club that Karen Reagan's heading up. On the 6th, we're going to the Naples Pier with the landscape group. On the 2nd, we have the dinner and the Naples Botanical Garden. If anyone just wants to come to dinner, let me know. You can do that. We're going to Sam Sneed's at 4:30. We're going to eat dinner there, and then we're going to the Naples Botanical Garden at night at 7 o'clock. And then on the 9th is the boat parade. Now, if you've never been to the boat parade, you should go. I was fortunate enough to be the photographer last year, and we got treated like royalty. We sat better seating than the VIP seating that was there. We were right up there with the judges, had our whole little section to ourselves. We weren't crowded at all, but you can buy tickets online and sit on the dock and see all these crazy people that have been drinking for an hour or two, drive their boats close to the judge stand, and then they all do some type of show. They sing, they dance, they yell, they scream, but they want to get their attention to the boat, and then the judges are voting on it. And it's just a fun night because they really do up these boats well. Karen Reagan and I were the judges last year. Not the judges, we were the photographers last year, but both of us are tied up this year.
Well, I hope to send your pictures to Dennis so we can get to see them. We don't see
I
them.
tell you what, we'll send some of the good ones. Yeah, Alan Esplin is going so far, and I'm looking for one more photographer. So if someone would like to go and get a free admittance to the best seat in the house, let me know.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is a fun evening.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. It started with Lisa Jeffries. Lisa was you did it for a couple of years.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
when we left that side, it hooked Dave and Frank up, and the rest is
Yeah,
history.
then Frank and I got in there. Now we can't make it, but now we are the photographers for the Marine Inland Association, called MIACC. I'm not sure what it stands for, but it's everybody that rents boats, sells boating equipment, belongs to that association, and they want to showcase their members. So they want to show their members why they belong to this association. So they want pictures of them. So we took
Yeah,
pictures.
and it must cost, I don't know, it must cost a pretty penny to participate, or somehow they raise a ton of money for local charities. But I mean, it's a sizable amount of money that they raise. They have a little ceremony afterwards. I don't know if you've gone to photograph that, Dave. I did one year, and you get to hear how all the contributions, and there are people there that receive some of the money. It's a tearful evening for sure.
It's held during the boat. They have a Naples boat show. The same group runs the Naples boat show. On one of those nights, they have their award ceremony. I went and photographed the award ceremony too. So we're in good. So we just need to keep on taking pictures when they ask us. And your reward is the great seat at the boat parade. And the people there it's really a low-key event. The people there are all very friendly, outgoing, no egos. These people that own these boats obviously are way up there, and these boats are huge, and just fun people to be with. So if you'd like to go, let me know. I'm looking for one more person. So Alan isn't there by himself, so there's no pressure on either one of you.
I haven't seen Alan.
He is down in the corner. He's got his camera off and his
he's down in the corner.
I'm waving at him, okay? Let him know.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave because I'm starving.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right behind you.
Bye, guys.
7:59. We finished by 8 o'clock.
Yep.
Deborah Law, great idea on the much better competition. We were not rushed through it.
Yep.
Perfect.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good weekend,
Good night.
everybody. Yeah.